Hey guys, man, what a trip! Oh, it's been an emotional, fucking 6+ months, 7 months. So we've been minting in the last 24 hours. We had hopes of a sellout. Obviously, everyone does. We had a fairly small community, but we had a lot of whitelists, and we haven't yet. We're still minting, obviously. We've minted, I think, 350, made about 65,000 US in that, which is actually really cool. I said to myself before this that I was so hyped up and so passionate about Gyris, and I said if we didn't sell any, I'd keep putting my money into it, and I meant that. I've put a lot of money into Gyris, a lot of my own money, and I just love it. I love the story. I loved writing the story. I continue to write it. I've loved the community that has formed around it. The community, a lot of the great ones have become the Olgren, the mods. It's a part of the team. We've brought on, just honestly, like the best team in crypto for this project. It's mental, the talent that we have that's coming online, that already has or is coming online. We had Jeff start on Tuesday, and he produced a 3D Bura, early prototype in a day. And then had it in environment in day 2. Moved it into Unreal in day 3. We've got Jimmy Brunner starting today. I've put some of his stuff in the announcements if you scroll back, and we'll do some more announcements soon. He's a fucking talent. He just is. He's a better sculptor than any project that you can see on Solana, and I would say he's as good, if not better, than anyone on any chain. And he lives up the road from me. I've still got some of my best mates, Andy and Charkin, as part of this team. As people have heard me talk, we've been friends for 20 years. It's really cool to be able to do something like this with them. We're not going anywhere, as much as it's like, happiness is expectations versus reality, and to have a crazy expectation that you're going to make millions of dollars in a day to build your dream studio, and take the fucking world by storm. They're lofty dreams, and I always say it's better to aim high and miss than aim low and hit, because the thing is, you always end up higher than where you were. So I'm fucking stoked that we've got some money to keep going, and that I didn't have to keep selling all my other NFTs like I have previously to keep it going, because in my head I was committed to, what I said is, I'm committed to funding 2 months of this artist and dev team, regardless of this doesn't happen, and we got the funds to do that through the mint. So everyone who minted, fucking thank you. And a lot of people who minted, were brought on as mods. You guys have worked basically for free, a lot, because you believed in a vision that's heaps more than just an NFT project, and that makes me really fucking proud. I've had heaps of moments of being really proud over the last. That's when you'll get me emotional. I told you I might cry. Over the past months, the belief that people showed in the ideas has been immense. So much so that I've really felt like I've formed genuine friendships, forming online, something that I genuinely, truthfully didn't think was possible. So we're going to keep building. So the plan is that we have all of the Genesis characters that we want to complete. So Jimmy, who's starting today, he'll probably call while I'm on this. He's going to work on finishing the Mingieri and the Darwar. And those are collections that are really elaborate. You'll see something very different from the Bura. You've already seen the Mara. The Mara's already complete, so that's been completed. That's already been funded and done. And the Mingieri has the base completed, but needs all the assets. So you've seen the Pavo Saris, based upon Saris, someone from the film, from the script. She's a warrior, and that's kind of based on her. So the Mingieri will actually they'll be women. And then the Darwar will be male again. But there's a ton of different classes that are part of the Darwar and part of the Mingieri, including the Banished Infinitum. So they're all going to get completed through the funding that we have. I'm not taking any of the money. I'm not taking any of the money that I've put in. Which has been well over 100,000 at this point, and we're gonna keep it all in. We're gonna keep building. So our artist who's starting to do the creatures, the Animalia, starts on the 28th at the latest, Tristan Brattain. So he's going to come in and do those, and then we'll move them we'll have 2D, and then we'll move them to 3D as well. And as that's happening, we have our game dev, Antonio, again, who's on salary. He's working with us full-time. Sorry, he's working with us part-time, full-time, starting from, I think, next week or the week after. We won't be able to, at least at this stage, hire another game dev, but obviously we've got Andy, our CTO, who work with. He's a fucking genius. You guys have seen the video of him making stuff in Unreal 5. So I think him working across with Antonio with the game logic stuff. And as I've mentioned, like our artists, there's 4 of them. They're motion graphics artists. Very gifted individuals, and such is the nature of their work, with sort of freelancing, that essentially you can have them for as long as you can pay for them. So it's not like with a lot of other jobs where you're worried that where they're going to walk because they're looking for a 12-month contract somewhere. The reality is that these guys aren't looking for contracts like that, unless probably it's with something like us. So it's a we're going to keep going. I'm going to talk to everyone in the team and just say, right, what can we achieve in a couple of months with this runway? And I'm basing this off where we're at now. I'm sure that that more will come in. So that's what we're doing. We're going to get 2 months of. I'm not taking any pay. Haven't yet and won't be. And I'm gonna keep paying people to make the dream. What I'm gonna do is have a bit of a better relationship with this this project from this point on, which means that I'm not going to be in the Discord all the time. I'm gonna hopefully all the team can lean on each other to be in there and be the type of community that we are, which is just like a really thoughtful, awesome community that doesn't need to just fucking yell and scream degen shit, and smart investors, people that want to hold onto something with some real potential. But I need to start having weekends again. I need to work 5 days a week. And I had a day job that I took a fair long hiatus off for this. So I will have to balance those two things. But what I need to be doing is continuing to write. So one really cool thing that we're going to do as a community is by the end of the month, I'm going to release I think I'll probably release the whole script, at least to some core, to the core team, and we're gonna workshop it. We're gonna all take some characters, and we're gonna read through the script, and we're gonna act it out. There's only really been a couple of people that I've really told a lot of the story to, and even without doing that, plenty of people have put a lot of faith in the ideas. I think that faith will grow once they experience the story. It's something that I'm really quite proud of. Anyway, I've done a lot of rambling as per usual. It's like a less excitable rambling. Not by no means defeated. When I was telling this story before, and I think I've told it. Give me 1 second. I'll try and find it up here. Where is it? Let me see. Where is it? Okay. Here we go. There we go. All right. What's he doing, they say. That's the scene. This is Uggy and Red. They go to Bungairi. Bungairi is like Bura Jiu-Jitsu. It's Bura combat. It's actually more like MMA, to be honest. And there's a scene where Uggy is trying to prove his worth, I guess, and how it works. It's grading day, and how it works is that we partner up, and you each kind of you wrestle on this sort of on the top of like a big kind of sumo wrestling ring, and the edges there's no sort of edges. The edges just fall away down like embankments. So like you're in this circle, and if you get thrown out, you kind of just fall down, a few meters down into like almost like a moat. And there's a series of circles that are all kind of linked by pathways. And then, when they're sparring, they kind of all choose a little circle, and they kind of battle with each other. This is what Gyris Fight League is going to be based around as well. So Argus and Red are sort of wrestling, and Argus basically gets his ass kicked by everyone. But when he comes to Red, Red throws him down, he climbs up the embankment, Red grabs him again, throws him down. It's this kind of consistent ass kicking. That came from my real life with my real friend Red. Argus, or Agi, is part me, part my son, part I think every man, part of every man that I know, struggling to kind of live a purposeful life. And in that scene and in real life, Red, we were wrestling. We're 12 years old. It was the first time we really became friends from memory. We were walking home from school with a bunch of people, and we all decided to wrestle. And to win, you had to throw them down the embankment into the creek. And he threw me down, and I climbed back up, and we wrestled again. He threw me down, and I climbed back up, and we got to 12 or 13 times, and he kicks my ass every time, but I just kept saying, "Let's go again, let's go again." And in the end, he was the one who called it. My persistence willed him into submission, which I allowed very quickly. Obviously, he sort of said, "Oh, mate, I think that's enough. How about we stop this?" And probably taking pity on me. And I was like, all right. Anyway, 20 years later, we had a wrestle after I'd done about 7 years of jiu-jitsu, and I choked him out. And after he tapped, I said, I never fucking forgot. And he was like, what? I was like, I never forgot. I always think about it. I always think about that when I was young, climbing up that hill. It is the analogy for a life of a lot of challenge, and this has been, I think, the biggest. I think it's been the biggest. I've had a few big ones. Another really big one that I had was with Equal Playing Field. That's the organisation I founded. We started that organisation. I raised $4,000 from a concert, and I got Sticky Fingers. It's just an Australian band. It sounds as dirty as it is. They went on to be a pretty famous Australian band. I convinced them to come down to Wollongong 11 years ago, and some local fellas, and we put on a show with got however many hundred people to come, and we raised $4,000. And I took that $4,000 and I went to PNG. We started our idea. I'd never even been there, and I was already planning to go over and start something. I had this idea when I was at uni that I was going to be the CEO of an international development organisation. I was 21 years old. I sort of thought, that'd be cool. Like, imagine if I could be that. And then at sort of 23, I think 24, raising $4,000 and putting a backpack on and going to a country I'd never been to. It was so hard. I spent my first trip. I spent a couple of nights in a lodge, and then I spent the rest of it in Calgary. Calgary was at the time considered one of, if not the most dangerous settlements, so slums in Port Moresby, which is itself not a safe place, according to many, according to everyone. And I slept on a floor, and I spent time walking around the community, and I coached their footy team. And I went back and forth, having my job at home and having my life in PNG, and having a 1-year-old son, having Noah. And there was every reason to not do that and to give up on it. But there was also this really burning need to do something in PNG, a place that, there was no prevention activities for violence against women and children. There was none. And it's some of the most violent acts in the world, the highest rates of violence in the world. And as we got into it, and as I kind of it started to form part of me, I could not let it go. And so that $4,000 and that backpack turned into then a $10,000 grant. Still sleeping in slums, moved to a different one after that. And then we got our first volunteer. Just like what happens in these discords. You get your first followers, you get your diggies, and you get your Harlands, Maddie, and it just kind of rolls on. But the thing is, it took me 4 years to really get paid. It took me. I had 2 years as a volunteer, working 7 days a week. It's working 7 days a week back then, and then we got a volunteer, and then after 4 years, after everyone had given up, I'm talking about everyone had given up, and everyone kept telling me to give it up, I said, I can't live without giving this my everything. And I left my job and I went unemployed and I put all of my energy into funding Equal Playing Field. And so many times I said I couldn't keep going. And then we finally got funded. Fuck. That was so hard. We went from zero to a million kina in funding, so it's 500,000 Australian. Basically overnight, after finally we were able to convince the Australian government, actually a large funder, to believe in what we're doing. After years of doing stuff with no money. And that was the thing that made EPF able to grow. That organisation went from those struggles, the hard slog in the beginning when no one would believe in it, just 2 people, to now one of the largest organisations in that country, influential, helping change curriculum, working in every teacher college in the country to help them teach teachers about child protection, how to protect kids in their schools. We've done amazing stuff, and it's something that now I'm really proud of, and that I can honestly say would have never happened if I gave up on it. The only thing outside of family that's ever made me feel like EPF did is this. And I said after EPF that I would never put myself through what I did. And I have, and I've done that again with Gyris. But this time, and EPF continues to be my thing and always will be. We have a team of, I think, about 40 over there at the moment. Despite that, I get fulfilled from my work over there for what it does for primarily for my heart and the innovation, that we've been able to bring. That's where I get the joy, innovating in the space. But my joy for Gyris is taps into what I feel like my deepest purpose is, and that's to be a creative. And yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. That feels like really maybe somber and stuff, but hopefully it's hopeful. Hopefully you understand where I'm at, because we're not going anywhere. So you're stuck with us. And it's crazy to sit here within a day of going on sale and acting as if there's some kind of failure here, because you did worse than some pixelated fucking pictures that don't mean anything, that don't really have value, that don't have intrinsic value. So it is a success. It's really fucking cool. It doesn't matter what I've put into it. The fact that it's been able to raise that, I think, is a reflection of its worth, because the people who have bought are actually buying it as true investors, not just to flip it. They didn't look at the numbers and be like, oh, there's 30,000 people in this, I'll be able to make, a quick flip. That they are the investors that you want, and we've managed to pull them in. So I'm super grateful about that. I fucking love you guys. I've just realized that this may have rubbed me the whole entire time, and I don't know how I'm going to do this again if it has, because this keeps giving me audio issues. So if this is I'm going to fucking off myself. That's the thing that'll get me. Anyway, love you guys. I'm going to keep building. We're going to make something fucking awesome, and I'm proud of everyone who's been involved. You guys are fucking sick, and I'm going to keep doing it. So watch the space. Peace. Fucking get your mint on. I'm going to eat some ice cream. Ooh.